All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome. Today is Monday, April 3rd, 2023, and you are now watching Permission to Exist. I'm your host, Permission to Exist, also known as PTE, and this is your friendly reminder to pay your rent if you haven't paid your rent yet. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is good to be here. It's good to see you all. It has certainly been a while. I think it's been about a month since I did a live stream. However, I have been live streaming in the members only section of the channel. So if you're not a member yet at level 2, do consider joining because I've been relatively consistent. I was doing really good at first, then I missed a week here or there, but still more consistent in the members only section than the main portion of the channel. So do check it out if you get an opportunity and if you see it fit to do so. You might hear the dog barking because there's a bird chirping outside, and she doesn't like that. So forgive any random barking that might come through the mic here shortly, but she seems to have settled down, so I think we're good. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. I do have a couple of announcements before we actually get into the content of today's show. Well, first and foremost, always want to give a big shout out to everyone who supports the channel in any meaningful way, be that Cash App, Patreon, super chatting, liking, commenting, subscribing, super thanksing. And of course, now we also do have the channel memberships available. There's level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is basically a support level, just showing your love and appreciation. Level 2 is what's going to give you all the access. However, I did make the decision to make the after shows available to all members. So we will have an after show after this live stream tonight, probably right around 10, to give me some time to feed my dog, feed myself, and then come join you guys. So we will be over there right after the show has concluded. So do consider joining at level 1 or level 2. We'll get you the after shows. Level 2 will get you access to everything else. So welcome. Couple other announcements before we get started. So some of you are aware that I have a P.O. box, and quite a few of you have sent me things, and I appreciate you guys so much. I've gotten some of the most wonderful stuff that I could ever imagine getting from different types of food products, cards. I've gotten some blue blocking glasses from you guys that blocks the blue light from computers. Um, all kinds of stuff, rocks, gems, all kinds of really cool, neat things, all of which I've kept except the food, obviously, because I've eaten it. But I thank you all so much to everyone who's ever sent me anything to that P.O. box. But I do want to let you know that I will be closing it very soon because, to put it, or for lack of better terms, they play too much. They play too much. Because it's not like a real P.O. box, it's a virtual P.O. box. So like it goes to this address, the address that's available to you guys. Then I have to like ship it to myself, and I have to pay them for that. Then I have to pay them monthly to maintain the box. Then they charged me because one of the packages was what they called too large. So they're charging me like $1.10 a day because the package is too big. It's just, it's too much. They play too much. So because they play too much, I have decided that I am going to be closing that P.O. box. So if you were thinking about sending me something to that address, I would say hold off for now. Let me close this one out and let me get a real one. I'm just going to get a real P.O. box at a post office. And I think that will solve a lot of my problems because then I won't have to deal with it being too big. Oh, it's too big. God. Anyway, so there's that. And I'll probably make a community tab post also. And I know a couple of you have sent me some things. They're still there. I have not received them yet. So if you haven't heard from me saying thank you, it's because I actually haven't gotten them yet. It's a lot. It's a movie, okay? It's a whole movie. So I'm working on it, and I'll let you guys know when I have the new real P.O. box set up, okay? So thank you again to everyone who's ever sent me anything. Now, next channel announcement. Where have I been? Just off in life, honey. Just absorbed in life, absorbed in work. and just it's a whole story. So I was actually telling my channel members about this, and I'm still thinking about it. I am considering a channel hiatus, meaning I'm considering going offline for an extended period of time. I have not made that decision yet, so don't worry just yet. But if I did, I would probably go offline for like 6 months, because I thought about it. This year in June will be 7 years that this channel has been live and 7 years that this channel has been active. And though I've taken breaks here and there, I've never really taken like an actual real break. Never. And when you're a content creator, it really is full time in more ways than one. Even if you don't produce a video or a stream every day, you're always thinking about it. And I think I need to take a break from thinking about it all the time. So, again, I have not made that decision yet. If or when I make that decision, I will make sure to let you all know. And I won't be taking the channel down, like the videos will remain up. I just won't be producing anything new for like 6 months. I think I need to take a break. I'm the queen of doing too much. And I think I've been trying to just do too much. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. And the last channel announcement that I want to make is that do expect a video from me. I did a live stream in the members only section. If you're interested in seeing it, it is there now. It is called Parentification. Oh, Lord, what did I call that video? That video is called Parentification and Emotional Incest. And it's really deep. And we really got into some heavy topics on that live stream in the members only section. And I told the members that I do plan on making a video out of that stream. It's just going to take a while. So do look forward to that coming out sometime in the near future. Don't know when, but it is going to be headed your way. So I just want to make sure you guys were aware, because I don't think YouTube will make you aware. They're not exactly known for notifying you of new things that are published. So I wanted you guys to know that. So that concludes all the channel announcements. Thank you so much. Yes, chat says breaks are necessary. I'm getting rid of my virtual mailbox too. They charge me for stuff I've already picked up. Yeah, they play too much. Like, it was a cute idea at first. I really did it for like safety. But then I thought about it and I was like, who would be psychotic enough to like just hang out at a post office waiting and like hoping to see me? Like, you got to be on like creep level 10. And I would hope that like the people who work there would notice you hanging out at the post office, just parked in the parking lot or hanging around the lobby, waiting, hoping and wishing to bump into somebody. So I was like, you know what? You can do that if you want, but you might meet the cops before you meet me. So I'm still going to choose one that's not close to my house, but I am just going to get a physical P.O. box so I don't get charged because the package is too big. Oh, it's so big. We got to charge you $1.10 a day. So I owe these people like so much money. I've been going back and forth with them. And I'm like, this is not what this was supposed to be. With the amount of money I owe them, the last time I checked, I owed them like $70. So I'm sure I owe them over $100 now. And for that amount, I could just rent out a regular P.O. box for like 3 or 4 months. So yeah. So there's that. Don't get me started. 1 out of 10 stars, do not recommend a virtual P.O. box. I'm sure it works out well for some people, but for people like me, I just need a regular one. So there's that. All right, so let's get into tonight's content. Welcome, everyone. Good to have you here with us this evening. So part of the reason, and actually this kind of plays into part of the reason I've been considering a channel hiatus, is because in many ways, y'all, I've felt kind of like the battle has been lost in terms of narcissism awareness. And the irony is there are more channels out there now talking about narcissism than ever before. A couple of years ago, like when I first started, there were probably like 10 to 20 solid channels really talking about it, hitting on some heavy content, really getting to the heart of the matter. Now there's probably well over 1,000. And it's not the saturation of channels that bothers me. It's the fact that in spite of all this discussion, narcissism is getting worse and worse and worse in our society. And I almost feel like we've lost the battle. And I know that's not a good thing to say. You're supposed to inject optimism, hope, bright future and all that into your people. But you all know that I tend to keep it real with you and I kind of tend to be honest with you. And the behavior that I've seen out of people lately just makes me feel like, what am I even doing this for? They don't get it. And when I say they, I'm not referring to you guys. I'm referring to society at large. They don't get it. They don't get it. Like it's a totally lost concept on them. And I feel like the damage that has been done is so comprehensive that in many ways I'm wasting my breath and wasting my efforts, wasting my energies because the people are finished, you guys. They're done. I don't know what they did to these kids. I don't know what they did to these people. I have a lot of theories, but we'll save that for another day, different channel. But I'm really concerned that it's like we've been defeated. And I'm going to show you why I feel that way. I'm going to show you why. So welcome everyone. Welcome. Let me go ahead and share my screen here and it should go right to it. Boom. So let's start here. Back on June 15th of 2020, I did a video called A Lawless Land is a Narcissist Dreamscape. And June 2020, I believe, was right in the middle of all the major protests that were going on regarding police brutality. I believe that was the time frame. Because in this video, I talk about the whole defunding the police conversation, how insane I thought that was, how narcissists would love nothing more than for you to get rid of the law, accountability, anything that would hold them accountable or responsible for their actions. They would love that because then basically they would be able to run wild in society. That's the premise and the gist of this video. I am going to link it for you, but do know I had a lot of technical difficulties on this video. So just know that going into it, still worth the listen, but my mic kept cutting out. Like a lot of weird things were happening tech-wise on this video. But that's what we were talking about in this video. And then, because I rewatched it right before this stream, part of the point that I was trying to make in that particular video is that narcissists have a criminal mind. And I tried to find this slide so I could just display it, but I couldn't. So I just paused the video on this slide. So let's review the criminal mind really quick. And we're going to talk, this is all relevant. It's all connected to what we're going to talk about tonight. Definition of a criminal mind: the mind of someone who commits crimes, the pursuit of power and control for their own sake, perceiving life as a one-way street, my way. Although fully aware of right and wrong and potential consequences of one's actions, the ability to shut off that knowledge long enough to do whatever one pleases. And then in this video, I also offered my definition of the criminal mind, which is basically a person who is willing to do anything, even if it means harming someone else or harming themselves, to achieve a certain goal in the end. So in other words, they don't care who gets hurt as long as they get their way in the end. And that was kind of connected to the overall conversation that we were having that particular night. So with that in mind, let's take a look at a current event. It is graphic, though we are not going to watch the video. I saw the video on accident before I actually knew the story behind it. It was just viral on social media. So I happened to actually see the video before I knew the backstory. And then I was really upset that I had seen the video because Had I known the backstory, I don't think I would have watched it. So do know that the story attached to what we're going to talk about is really graphic. It contains violence, and the victim does not make it. So the victim does pass away in this particular story. And yes, the perpetrator was arrested pretty much on the spot. So do know that. And it's kind of a sad story too, but there's a point, and there's a reason that I would share this with you. And the point of it is not the violent act itself, which we have unfortunately become accustomed to. It's the reaction to the act, to the violent act that brings us here this evening. Okay. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. Some of you may have heard about this. This happened in Vancouver, Canada. This was published March 29th, 2023. So, just a few days ago. Dad killed outside Starbucks after allegedly asking attacker not to vape near his toddler. A 37-year-old dad was stabbed to death in front of his 3-year-old daughter and fiance outside a Starbucks in Canada after he asked the attacker not to vape in front of his child, his family said. Paul Stanley Schmidt and his daughter Erica were outside the Vancouver coffee shop about 5:30 p.m. Sunday while his fiancee Ashley Umali was getting drinks. A horrifying video posted on social media captured the moment a man suddenly stabbed Schmidt, who was seen clutching his stomach as he staggered and fell to the ground in a pool of blood. Schmidt is his mother, said she was told that the suspect, identified as 32-year-old Inderdeep Singh Gosa, carried out the depraved attack after her son asked him not to vape in front of Erica. So this is the gentleman who lost his life, and this is his little girl that he's holding in this picture. Quote, "This is so horribly wrong what happened. He was just trying to protect his daughter. I'm angry and I'm sad," she told the news outlet. It all started because he was vaping beside the baby. Ashley's in shock. She watched the whole thing. She's so devastated, Schmidt added. Gosa has been charged with second-degree murder, but Schmidt said she would like the charge to be upgraded to first-degree, which requires proof of premeditation, which I don't recommend that. I think they need to keep it second, because if they try to push for first-degree, they might lose, because that means that that guy went there that day with plans on killing somebody. They would have to prove that. And unless you can prove that, you might want to go for the second-degree charge. Either way, he's going to jail for a long time. Quote, "He had a knife. I don't carry a knife into a coffee shop, do you?" End quote. The grieving mom told City News that she was also shocked about how no one rushed to help her dying son. Quote, "I was incredibly surprised that nobody from inside the Starbucks called for help. Nobody outside called for help. It wasn't until basically he was in dire straits that somebody flagged down an officer on the sidewalk. What kind of world are we living in when you take your family to Starbucks in the middle of the afternoon and you're attacked and killed with many people standing around, videotaping and watching," she said. Police have only said that an officer on patrol was flagged down about 5:40 p.m. at Granville and West Pender Streets after the stabbing, which followed a brief altercation. The suspect did not resist when the officer arrested him inside the Starbucks. He said police are appealing for more witnesses and video to help investigators determine a motive in the senseless killing. There's a significant amount of evidence to tell us what happened. What we are focusing on now is why did this happen? What are the events that transpired in the moments leading up to this very serious crime? The spokesman also urged people not to share the shocking footage of the attack. Too late. It's graphic video. We are encouraging people not to share that video. We are encouraging people, if you've got video, if you were a bystander or a witness, please come forward and speak to our investigators. provided to our investigators. The slain man's family also pleaded for people not to circulate the chilling video. All right. And let's see here. It says Paul was a great guy and a hard worker. He was a devoted husband and father. All right. So that is the story of what happened to this gentleman. Apparently happened right in front of his daughter. And the long story short, the story as we know it as of right now is this gentleman went to Starbucks with his fiance and his daughter. And while they were outside, kind of on a public patio, which you can kind of see in this picture right here. So this is like an outdoor patio area. They were waiting for their drinks. The mom was inside. Well, the mother of the child was inside getting the drinks. And apparently the guy in the red pants was vaping. And I'm assuming, this is my assumption, blowing smoke probably right in their face. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know that. I haven't read that anywhere. That hasn't been reported anywhere. That is my assumption, because I'm thinking, what other reason would someone have to ask someone, hey, could you not vape in front of my kid, unless the smoke is blowing right in the child's face, right? But even if it wasn't, it doesn't excuse any of this. That's just my speculation. This jackass was outside vaping, probably blowing smoke right in their face. That's my assumption, right? So that's the story. Now, I wouldn't call you here this evening just to tell you a sad story or tell you a bad story. The reason we are here tonight is people's reaction to this story, y'all. So let's head on over to Twitter. This was posted by the Daily Loud on March 29th. I think that's the same day that it happened. And I just happened to click on it and I scrolled down and started reading comments. And we're actually going to read some of these comments together. We're not going to read all of them, but we're going to read some of these comments. And I hope that you, by the time we're through reading them, understand why we're here tonight. So let's start off, because there's so many. It's not like there was one or two people with this sentiment. There are so many people with a similar sentiment that it was shocking and actually kind of scary. This person says, that's a weird hill to die on. Definitely not worth dying over. It's a public outdoor space. I wonder how he asked. I asked people nicely if they minded, albeit it was a non-smoking area, but they never became unhinged. He could have removed his family if it was that serious. Then someone replied to this person, Tara Alicia. Irrespective of how he asked, there's no good reason for someone to stab him for that. So immediately I was hooked on the comment thread. I was like, whoa, let me keep reading. So here's one that's sympathetic. We're going to skip over the sympathetic ones. Let's see here. Where are they? Did they start to... I think they're starting to get pushed down. Well, here's one. It says, hope his last vape rip was worth 25 years in prison. Society is scary now because so many people have nothing left to live for, so they've got nothing to lose. Sorry for this man and his family. Hope the attacker rots in jail. Cool. All right. Let's find some of the ones that really shocked me. Let's go. I think they're starting to get pushed down. Here's one that's kind of similar. People out here are unhinged. Sometimes it's just not worth it. Implying, don't say anything to people because they're unhinged. Where's some of the ones? Maybe they deleted it. Let's see here. Here's another one. Just walk away with your child next time. The world is not a safe place anymore. Here's one. The idea of ending someone's life on earth because they made a request is wild. I question, was the attacker mentally ill? Was the victim rude when he asked? The justice system will never be enough to replace a life lost. Sad, really. So you're starting to kind of get a sentiment of people basically victim blaming. Yes, chat says it perfectly. People are programmed to blame the victim these days. And it gets worse. I'm trying to find some of the worst ones, which were either deleted or they've been pushed down some. Oh, here's one. Watching the video was horrible. It was all over Twitter. I will say this, and I believe it to be true. Do not go up to random people asking them not to do something that they are free to do in public. You never know how dangerous an individual is, or you never know how an individual is going to react. Crazy people are everywhere. Here's another one. He should have removed himself and his daughter from around the smoker if it was such a problem for him. Why should I have to remove myself from a public space, especially if it wasn't a non smoking area to accommodate you? A reply. We really live in a time where telling someone not to smoke in front of your kid might result in getting stabbed. Maybe the metaverse has it right. Here's a reply to that same comment. Weak mindset. That's like saying you're out in public and someone is blocking you from getting in your car by standing in front of the door. Well, it looks like you're walking from now on, then, because you're minding your own business. He can stand there because it's out in public. So people are pushing back. Here's another one. Always the wisest thing to do is be quiet and avoid confrontation in front of the people in public. No matter how emotional you are and how much you want to do the right thing, but people now are evil. We never know what kind of reaction we'll get from them. So, y'all, they're basically, and it gets worse. I'm going to keep digging until I find, hopefully, the ones that I originally saw. I should have taken screenshots. But basically, what one half of the people are arguing is that it was essentially the victim's fault because he basically poked his nose where it shouldn't have been. And if he was so bothered by it, he could have just moved his child to another area of the patio. And apparently, a lot of people wrote back and were like, well, no, in Canada, you can't smoke within, I guess, 6 feet of an entrance or exit. And I think it's like that in some places in America. I think it's like 10 feet in America, but I'm not sure in certain places. And I couldn't believe it, y'all. I was like, wow. So they're basically saying that it's his fault he got stabbed to death for making a request to a total stranger, and he should have known better because people are crazy nowadays. That's the argument that's being made. And here's one right here. It says it's actually illegal to vape within 10 meters of any air intake or door. So the guy who died didn't go up to a random and ask them to stop doing something they're allowed to do. It's illegal to smoke or vape outside of a Starbucks if within 10 feet of any air intake. Here's somebody, boom, love you, says, or how about we deal with the issue? Victim blaming is abhorrent, and it is. Let's see. Here's another one. Mind your own damn business is my MO these days. I ain't dying over a shopping cart, the line at Home Depot, or some road rage. My assumption is that everyone else always has a gun on them and they could use it. Not that I don't, but I trust myself to stay calm and not lose it. More victim blaming. Absolutely. Chat says that's why narcissism is at the level it is now. Too many people just want to, quote, avoid confrontation, end quote. Absolutely. And oh God, this triggers me so bad. I'm getting triggered. Oh, I'm getting triggered so bad. Let's see if we can find more. It says it was a non smoking area, which includes vaping. People are becoming selfish and inconsiderate of others. He shouldn't have been there vaping. Here's another one. A 1% chance of dying is not going to stop me from telling people when something is wrong. Hallelujah, son. Let's see. Okay. This one says murderer was confronted for blowing his vape clouds into a little girl's face. I'm not laughing because of what happened. I'm laughing because of what they actually wrote, which I'm not going to read out loud, but you can see your screen. It says murderer was confronted for blowing his vape clouds into a little girl's face, something you know not to do unless you're a pile of dog shit who enters public with premeditated plan of messing with people, then murdering the first to stand up for themselves. And that is exactly what a narcissist is. That is exactly what a narc is. That is exactly what they do. They try you. They openly try you. They purposely try you. They provoke you. And what a lot of people in the comments on this Twitter thread are advocating for is for you to stand down. Stand down. Put your head down. Look the other way. Don't say anything. Because if you're bold enough to actually stand up for yourself, it might get you killed. Like, that is a veiled threat. Do y'all see that that's a veiled threat? To tell someone, don't stand up for yourself because it might get you killed. Why might it not get the narc killed? And I'm not advocating for anyone being killed, you guys. YouTube, if you're listening, I'm not advocating for violence at any level. What I'm advocating for is that we don't roll over and let these people take our society over, which it appears to be happening, though. That's what appears to be happening. So what ends up happening, you think the narc is just going to stop with one small infraction? So you look the other way with that small infraction. So then they up the ante. You look the other way with that infraction. So they up the ante. You look the other way with that one. Before you know it, you have been completely run over, completely victimized. You're probably not happy about it. You don't feel good about yourself, but the narc is happy. And that's all that matters. All that matters is that the narcissist is happy. All that matters is that we didn't trouble the narc. We didn't disturb the narc. That's all that matters. That's it. As long as you keep the narc at peace, you've done a good thing. And what does that allow the narcissist to do? Grow, thrive, prosper. It enables them to think, I run this. And I can do whatever I want to do. And if you try me, I'll stab you to death. Absolutely. The chat says bullies that have grown up. Yeah, chat says, and why is no one addressing the actual issue, which is the unhingedness of the response to the request? Because I really spent a lot of time thinking about, I agree. I spent a lot of time thinking about this and I was like, okay. Some people were saying he could have just stepped away with his family. Like, okay, someone's smoking right here. Let's move to the other side or let's go back inside, right? Sure, he could have. But Starbucks is a public place. Well, it's a private business, but a public place. You get what I'm saying? Starbucks is a public place. He doesn't have to move either. That's the whole point. You don't have to be standing here blowing smoke in their face. And he also actually doesn't have to move. And he asked you kindly. Well, I don't know how he asked him. Even if he asked him in a rude way, which I doubt he did with his daughter standing right there. He was probably like, hey, man, would you mind not blowing that in our face? Hey, man, would you mind not, blowing that in my kid's face? You're kind of blowing it right in my kid's face, And that simple request sent that psychotic narc so far over the edge, he stabbed this man to death on a Starbucks patio. Like, you see what I mean? So sure, could the guy have just relocated himself and his daughter? Sure. But guess what else could have happened? The narc could have been like, oh yeah, no problem, man, and moved on somewhere else. Or if he was so offended at the request, whatever happened to words? Whatever happened, you're offended? Okay, say F you, man, I'm not going to stop vaping. Or F you, man, I'm not moving, I'm outside. You move. Whatever happened to the exchange of words? How did it go from, hey, would you mind not vaping in front of my kid, to now the father is dead? So, like, you see what I mean? And that's what seems to be lost in this comment section. A lot of people blamed the victim for this. Here's a good comment. Or don't stab someone to death over a harmless request. Let's not victim blame. I agree. Here's another one, blaming the victim. Moral of the story, you should always mind your own business when in a public setting, especially if a person is doing something within their rights. Who knows how an idiot's mind works? Why rely on what you perceive as an idiot? May his soul rest in peace and his family find comfort. So guess what kind of world that creates? That creates a world where you basically can't go anywhere. That creates a world where you can't go anywhere because narcissists are jerks. They're assholes. They're going to disrupt the peace. They're going to disrupt your peace. They're going to disrupt the environment, the atmosphere. They're going to be inappropriate. They're going to do all kinds of stuff because they know, either consciously or unconsciously, that most people are so afraid to say something to them because of how I might react. Like they're ticking time bombs. And that is their great strength. That's their show of force. Like, I wish somebody would say something to me and I'm going to go off. I'm going to explode. I'm going to get violent, wild, and crazy. You need to be in jail. Half of you need to be in jail. You need to be institutionalized. They need to bring back lobotomies, okay? They ruled those unethical. Bring back the lobotomy. Because what kind of world does this ultimately make? And then we did this in the members only section. We actually just did a video, the last one we did, where they basically raised their children up to behave and think just like them, basically, because they love to breed. God, narcissists love to breed. They don't take care of their kids, but they love to breed them. And they breed them and they pass down this sick, twisted mentality of nobody can tell me anything. There's no such thing as your rights, your boundaries. Like, try living next door to a narcissistic neighbor. It is a nightmare. It's a nightmare because typically they believe they're within their rights to do whatever they want to in their house and their yard. And they can be, and sometimes they're correct. The problem is when it starts to cross over into your yard, when it starts to affect your house. So if your neighbor is playing loud music, but you can't hear it, well, that's no harm, no foul. But if your neighbor is playing loud music so much to the point where you can make out every word, or the bass is rattling your walls, well, now it's crossed over into your world. See, that's what narcissists don't get. They don't get that you cannot affect other people's worlds. Affect your own world. Like, if you are living alone on a singular piece of land, a couple of acres, and you want to do whatever, do whatever. But as soon as your world starts to impact my world, now we have a problem. But what these people are trying to do is coach you out of having that problem. They're trying to coach you out of the instinct of protecting yourself, the instinct and the natural knowledge that I have certain rights here in this situation too. This is why they don't let you smoke on airplanes anymore. You know, they used to, right? They used to let you smoke cigarettes and probably cigars too on airplanes, on aircraft. And they stopped for a variety of different reasons. But that's one of the main reasons why. So you're a smoker. Okay, great. Be a smoker. But we are on this little capsule in the middle, not the middle. Well, yeah, in the middle of the sky, 30,000 feet up. I can't go anywhere. So I'm trapped with your decision. You cannot trap me with your decision. Yeah, they the chat says they breed their kids like pit bull puppies, training them to be fight dogs. Absolutely. Shout out to the pit bulls. I know a lot of y'all love pits. They're very cute, but honey, I don't trust them. Sorry. They're very cute. I think they're some of the cutest dogs. I love their big old heads, but honey, those things scare the hell out of me, okay? One of my cousins has a pit, and he doesn't know that every time I visit him, I'm just like, good puppy, good puppy. Oh God, good puppy. I'm like, wait, I need to leave. I think I need to get out of here. But he puts him up quite often. because the dog loves me. He really, really loves me. And I think that's great. But boy, I am scared of you. I am scared of you. Okay. That's another example. So let's say your neighbor has a couple of dogs. We'll just say dogs, period. And they have a fence. Well, great. As long as your dogs stay in your fenced in yard, we have no problems. But as soon as your dogs start to escape and start to get out and start to come into my yard and scare the hell out of me, well, now we have a problem. Anyway, let me not drift down that because I know people are very touchy and sensitive about their dogs, honey. Very touchy and sensitive. So I'll move on. Probably lose at least 3 subs behind those comments. But anyway, do y'all get my point? Like, narcs, God, they're the worst. They are the worst. And they're getting worse. And I don't know if they're being born this way or if they're being slowly created to be this way. But I was watching a video on another girl's channel. I don't know her channel name, but she does a lot of videos about why she's no longer a teacher. And every time I watch one of her videos, I get triggered beyond belief. And usually I have to stop watching about halfway through. Number one, because I used to be a public school teacher and I relate to everything that she's saying. But another reason is because I'm shocked that the things that were going on when I was teaching are still going on and have actually gotten worse. And one of the things she was describing in a very recent video is how the kids are essentially being taught that they can do no wrong, how they're trying to get rid of grades. So A, B, C, D, F. You are not really allowed to fail a child anymore because that will damage their self-esteem. So, you have to work with them to make sure they don't get that F, which, yes, as a teacher, you don't want your kids to fail. That's not the goal. The goal is not to pass out Fs. The goal is to teach them, hope they learn it, and pass out A's and B's and the occasional C. That's the goal. You want your students to do well. You don't want them to be dumb, especially not on your watch. But if you earned an F, you earned an F, honey. She was talking about how the kids will get sent to the office on a discipline problem or like a referral and come back with snacks and drinks that either the principal gave them or the assistant principal gave them, send them back to class. Now they came back and it's almost like, ha, 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 you tried to get me. And all I did is went to the office and told the principal what a terrible teacher you are. And I got snacks and goodies and sent back to class. Yeah, chat says anything to avoid negative feedback. And that's kind of why on that comment right there, that's kind of why everyone flipped out over the removal of the dislike button on YouTube. It's like, stop trying to make everyone so soft to where they can't handle a dislike. Like, if you can't handle a dislike as a content creator, you do not need to be one. You don't. Sometimes people are not going to like what you do. Now, what would be helpful is if they included like a 180 character comment box. Like, okay, so you dislike the video. Would you like to write a few words and tell the creator why? That would be helpful. Hey, PTE, I dislike this video because blah, 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 blah. That would be helpful to me. But even without that, it's good to know, ooh, they didn't like this one. Or, okay, got 99 likes, 2 dislikes. All right, cool. But they took it away. We can still see it on the back end, but it's very hard. They do it like a percentage. So you would actually have to do the math to figure out how many dislikes you got. It's ridiculous because they want to protect our feelings because, the world can't handle negative feedback anymore. And look at what has become of the world that is not able to handle negative feedback. Now you got people flipping out on Starbucks patios because someone gave them a little bit of negative feedback. Hey man, would you stop vaping in front of my kid? Stabbed him to death. To death, you guys. He's dead. He's gone. Yeah, they get rewarded for bad behavior these days. I sure did. Chat says, did you hear that the teacher that got shot is suing the school and the school district for $40 million because of their negligence? I sure did, and I'm very proud of her. And I hope that she wins too. So, for those who are unfamiliar, a 6-year-old brought a firearm to an elementary school. Apparently, the school was made aware that he had a gun. They did nothing about it. He shot his teacher. Thankfully, she survived, but she had to undergo like crazy surgeries and she'll probably never be the same again. And on top of all that, he was a well known discipline problem. And they coddled him until he finally did something like that. And I think he even told her he was going to do it like the day before. He told her, like, I'm going to kill you, is what he basically told her. Like the day before, or something like that. They did nothing. Now she's suing them for $40 million, and I hope she wins. I don't know if y'all saw the video of this, like, he's only like 13 years old, but he's like 6 feet tall, 6 foot tall kid attacking his special ed teacher, like beat her like she was a grown man. And it took like 5 or 6 adults to get him off of her. And people were coming out saying, oh, he's emotionally disturbed. Oh, he's troubled. You know, he's got behavior issues. Don't come down on him. It's like, no, come down on him. If he was grown enough, if he was well enough to be walking around on his own, he was well enough to know better. If he's well enough to wipe his own ass, he's well enough to know better. And if he's so dangerous and emotionally disturbed that he could almost beat a woman to death, then he doesn't need to be in that school, honey. Like, we've gone soft. The country has gone soft. It's part of the reason I quit teaching y'all, because I was like, you know what? I'm not playing this game with you guys. I'm not playing the getting cussed out, call the B word to my face, kick you out of the class because you deserve to be kicked out, only to have them send you right back. And then the principal called me into his office asking me about classroom management. Boy, bye. You've had to body slam 1 or 2 of these kids because they were so out of control, and pin them to the ground because they were so out of control. And you want to talk to me about classroom management? Anyway, I'm getting triggered. Y'all see me getting triggered? Let's see here. Oh dear, let's scroll past that. There we go. It says, I agree with you. People are crazy nowadays. You don't know what they will do. Yeah, so let's tuck tail. Let's just turn our heads and let's pretend like none of it's happening. Let's do that. You know, so they never learn anything. So they never learn their lesson. Let's just tuck tail, put our heads down. Now hear me out, you guys. Am I saying go run up and fight every battle, pull up on every narc, puff your chest out, you know, confront them, push them down, da 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 da? Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. Every battle is not supposed to be fought. You have to pick your battles and choose them wisely. But when your rights are being directly violated, and you have every right to stand up for yourself in that moment, I think you have to. You have to. Because they are getting out of control. And a lot of our politicians and legislators are trying to help them get out of control. Like, I don't know what the end goal is here. Like, what are we trying to achieve? Like, why are we trying to make the world a better place for criminals? Why are we trying to make the world a better place for narcissists? Why? I don't care if they're uncomfortable. They don't care if we're uncomfortable. They certainly don't care if we're uncomfortable. I remember one day I was coming home and somebody was parked in front of my driveway. Car I didn't recognize. So I couldn't get into my house. Like, I couldn't pull into my driveway. I couldn't do anything. So I saw some of my neighbors coming out of their house and I was like, hey, do you know whose car this is? And she was like, no. And I said, oh, okay, well then I'm going to call a tow truck. And I spun the block, right? I spun the block. And when I came back, the car was gone. Amazing. Amazing. When I came back, the car was gone. Now, isn't that magical? Now, what they would actually want me to do, what they would have me to do is they would have me to basically just park up the street and walk to my house. That's what these people are advocating for in this comment section. Oh, you shouldn't have said anything to them. What you should have done is just found a parking space a little bit further up the street and take your purse and all your groceries and just walk to your house until the car was moved on its own. That's what they were asking basically for me to do. And I didn't. Do you know whose car this is? No. Okay, well then I'm calling a tow truck. Spun the block. As soon as I came back, the car was gone. Now, I shouldn't have had to spin the block, but I decided to give them about 60 seconds to make a different decision because I certainly was Googling tow truck companies in my area. And I was going to have your car towed away because you know you're not supposed to be parking in front of other people's driveways. And it's not like it was a delivery driver. Like the car was parked, lights off, closed, locked up. It's not like somebody was doing a delivery. They were parked. So, well, since you don't know whose car it is, then I'm going to call a tow truck. And by the time I got back to my house, about 60 seconds later, the car was gone. A miracle. They love to try you. They love to try you. They love to test you. They love to test your patience. They love to see what you will do. And what you kind of almost have to do is show them that you are just as crazy as they are. Yeah, you have to stand your ground, just like with a bully. Absolutely. You have to stand your ground. And they have to see, oh, she might be just as crazy as I am, if not crazier. Because, see, crazy is calling the tow truck company. Crazier is blocking that car in, which would have been an option also. I could have just blocked that car. So now everybody's blocked. I'm blocked. You're blocked. We're all blocked together. You want to play crazy? Now, I'm not advocating for that. I want you all to always try to make the most wise, rational decision in the moment. That's what I want for you. Make it the most wise, most rational decision you're capable of making in the moment. That's what I wish for you and hope for you. But sometimes you have to show these narcissists you are just as crazy as they are. You do. You really do. And that is the only way they learn to leave you alone. That's the only way. And you, being a regular person, will probably feel bad for the levels that you've had to take things to defend yourself. But I don't think you should feel bad about it. The only reason you feel bad is because you have a heart and you're capable of feeling guilt, shame, remorse. You're capable of feeling those things. So feel them, but don't beat yourself up for the levels that you have to take things to occasionally. Because it's like, if they're so willing to go there, in my opinion, they've already crossed the line. So since you've crossed the line, let's play. Let's see who's actually crazier. Okay. It wasn't her car. It was one of her guests. So the chat says it was the no lady's car. It wasn't her car. It was one of her guests. So she had a couple of people over at her house. And they didn't feel like parking down the street a little bit. So they just decided they were going to park in front of my driveway, which is, I think, illegal according to like, not transportation law. Y'all know the law that governs streets and highways and byways and stuff. You're not allowed to block people's driveways. You can't do that. And she knows that. They know that. But, you know, me and this one, we have a history. Maybe I'll tell y'all all about it in the members only section one day, on a member Mondays or something. We have a long running history, me and this one. And I don't know what possessed her to tell her guest, yeah, just go ahead and park in front of her driveway. What would ever make you think that would be okay? So when I saw them coming out in the house, do you know whose car that is? No. Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to call the tow truck then. Be right back. Vroom, spun the block. When I came back, the car was magically gone. A miracle. Here's a great comment. It says people in the comments telling him he should have minded his own business like he didn't ask for the smallest request. Exactly. It's like they're acting like he asked him, "Hey man, I don't like your red pants. I don't like the color red. Would you mind changing into some blue pants for me so I don't have to look at your red pants?" He was like, "What? Buzz off. F off, man. I'm not changing my pants because you don't like the color red." Still doesn't warrant a stabbing. Nothing warrants that unless your life is in danger and you're fighting for your life. You know, it's almost like, "Hey man, I don't like your haircut. I really don't like that buzz cut. Can you go to the barber and cut your hair a different way because I don't like it?" He didn't ask him anything like that. He made a very reasonable request. "Hey, could you not blow smoke in me and my kid's face?" Now, again, could he have chosen to just relocate his daughter and himself? Sure, he could have, but that's not the point. The point is, he should have been able to make a request to another human being, another grown adult male like he is. And either that male could have consented or not consented. "No, I'm not going to move. No, I'm not going to stop blowing smoke in your face. You move." And then the father would have had another option from there, but at least he would have still been alive. He could have been like, "Well, man, you're a real jerk," as he and his daughter relocated somewhere else. But guess what? He may have still been alive. But this narc's narcissism was so extreme that his solution was to stab this man. And he unfortunately ended up losing his life just because he asked him to stop doing something, which I guarantee you he was blowing smoke in their face, which is very rude. It is rude to blow smoke in people's faces. That's rude. Now, if someone comes up, if you're, let's say you're on a park bench and you're smoking your cigarette or your vape, there's nobody around you, you're minding your business, and then somebody comes and puts out their picnic blanket right behind your bench where you're smoking, they're like, "Hey, we're trying to have a picnic here. Would you mind?" It's kind of like, I was kind of here first. There's a big old park. This is a big park. It's not illegal to smoke out in the park. Like I've been out here for an hour. Like, could you maybe post up somewhere else? But it still doesn't warrant a stabbing at the end. You see what I'm saying? There was a video, and I suspect it was staged, but I'm also not sure. It could have been real. This fitness influencer was doing her little exercises or whatever, and she was recording it. I think she was live streaming it actually. And some guy, and there was a park bench behind her. And some guy came and just sat on the bench, and I don't know if he started reading his paper or drinking coffee. I don't know. He wasn't looking at her though. It's not like he was standing like a creep. He wasn't being a creep. He just came and sat on the bench, and she turned around and went up to him and was like, "Hey, I'm doing a video right now. Could you move somewhere else?" And he basically told her no. And the question for that one, I wonder if I can find it really quick. Let me see if I can find that one really quick, just to lighten the mood a little bit. Because nothing bad happened. He didn't, like, I don't know, freak out and like stab her. Um, Let me see if I can find it. Fitness influencer park bench guy. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, is this it? Let's see. Did I get lucky? Let me see if I got lucky. Oh, by the way, y'all, we discovered on the last live stream we did in the members only section, they've got some weird video protection going to where I'm going to try to play this video for y'all, but there is a possibility you won't be able to hear it. And it's very weird. Still haven't been able to figure it out, but they actually have some sort of blocker now to where, like, I guess if a video is copyright protected, you won't hear it. So I could play it out loud, nothing's muted, but you wouldn't be able to hear it. But I did find it. Let me see. let's see if this is the whole thing. Hold on. This one looks like it starts like midway through. Okay. All right. They started this one. Let me see if it doesn't work, we'll just abandon the idea. But we're going to try, and I'm going to try to play this video for y'all. So why does it keep muting itself? See, I think this one has it on too. All right. Wow. These people have this stuff on lock. Oh my God. How crazy. Here, let me try to play it through this one. The copyright is getting insane. Okay. Let's see if this one has the actual video. You know what? Forget it. Well, let me show you the article so y'all know at least what I'm talking about. So this happened actually March 1st, so about a month ago. It says the moment fitness influencer asks man to move off park bench because he's ruining her live stream, but critics suggest the video is staged, which it could be. Who knows? But here's the fitness influencer doing her little video. This guy comes and sits on a park bench, right? She asked him to move. Let's see if we can get this to play. Oh, it's on Twitter. We might be able to actually get some sound. All right, wish us luck. Here we go. We're going to try.
Hi guys, so I've just been for my morning run, so I just went 5k today, so I've been eating healthy, staying hydrated, it's kind of cold these mornings, but I'm just so you've seen the shop outside?
Right, this is a bench that I sit on every day. So, put it in the So, all you gotta do is just ask us to move the camera around then. Right, just wait for the phone call. It's not alright. Well, then you move then. The legs are still in it, so I'm not saying. Oh yeah, and I'm actually flying there as well. I don't care, so. What, giving my face is really your shot? Yeah. Why didn't you go from that then?
I'm already filming out while you were.
Look, if you don't like the answer, don't ask the question.
So I was actually nice, but now I'm telling you, you're in the shop now.
You telling me?
It's very good. Not going to have to see how far it's at.
Oh, I'm an old man now. Are you bringing ages into it, love?
Just saying.
What school? Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying that you're in my shop and I'm going to go and that's it.
Yeah.
It's a live stream, this is live.
Right.
And
Okay, then.
we're going to carry on, Leon.
Why not?
Because you're in the shop, like you can see it.
Yeah.
You're literally in the shop. Yeah.
Well, guys,
No one wants to see that.
why not? How you know? What
I follow it,
people
I
want to
know.
see? You follow it?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
Jesus
it's
now.
not following. Yeah, they follow it, it's all like,
All right,
they're
okay.
not going to see you like that.
And what sort of fitness program is it?
Following that.
Oh, you're on a journey.
Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, well, I understand. Oh. Isn't that small flavor here?
Sorry about this, guys.
So I know the volume was kind of low. Hopefully y'all could at least hear something though. Hopefully. But if not, they did have subtitles on there. So that one's kind of funny, just to lighten the mood a little bit, because it's like Like, who do y'all think is in the wrong? So she was there. She was filming her little video. He comes and sits down. It's a public park. It's not a private park. She didn't rent out that bench. She didn't rent any of that stuff out. So he literally has every right to sit there. He wasn't ogling her. He wasn't staring at her. But she's telling him he needs to get up. She told him nobody wants to see an old man in the shot. He said, "Oh, I'm old now." He said, "Oh, pop off." He said, "Oh, pop off then." I like how British people insult each other. It's kind of funny. Um, so I don't know. I want y'all's opinion on that one. It's like, maybe don't film in a public park where people can do whatever they want to do. I've seen videos where people are like in the gym and they get mad because people like keep walking in front of the camera as they're working out, which how that ever became a thing, whatever. If it makes you happy, if you like it, I love it. But people are actually like getting mad, like, "Ugh, all these people keep walking in front of my shot." It's like, it's a public gym. Like, it's not a private gym. I think I agree. It says, I think I would have moved quickly as soon as he sat down if I was in her situation, if I really didn't want him in the shot. Right. Like, she doesn't own the bench, nor does she control it. So just more examples of public entitlement. Excuse me. Let's take a few more of these comments and then we'll just kind of round the show out. Well, I think you guys got it though. I think you guys got it. I will link all of this for you. I'll link the article, I'll link the Twitter thread, and I'll even link that video, that influencer video, if you want to watch it again and actually hear it a little louder in your own speakers. I'll link that for you as well. I think you guys get the overall gist. The overall gist is there are a lot of people in this comment thread who basically are blaming the victim and saying that he was wrong for making the request of this man to stop vaping in front of his child. And this idiot in the red pants response was to stab the man to death. That was his response. And now he's ruined 2 lives. Well, really multiple, but he's taken the life of one man and ruined his own over a simple request that could have been resolved with words. Either no, I'm not, or yes, I am. Call the police. If he really felt strongly about it, if he really felt like he was within his rights, he should have said, call the police then. No, I'm not moving. Call the police. And I'll let the police tell me that I need to move to another location to vape if he felt so strongly about it. But no, he acted like a child. You know what? That's not fair to children. I take that back. I retract that statement. He acted like a narcissist and just took it to the extreme. And there are actually people low key defending him. They're not outwardly defending him like, oh, he was within his rights to stab this man. They're not outwardly defending him like that. They're low key defending him by saying things like, well, I mean, he could have just moved to another location with his daughter. Well, I mean, it is a public place and you just never know what's going on with people these days. And it's best to mind your own business. Yeah. And then these are typically the same people who turn around and complain that the world has gotten so bad and what's wrong with people. And why don't people just have any respect anymore? Because people like you let them do whatever they want to do. That's why. Because people like you are afraid to stand up for your actual rights. We're not talking about, unreasonable requests here. Like, hey, I don't like your red pants. Would you mind putting on some blue jeans? That's unreasonable. Hey, I don't like your haircut. Would you mind getting a buzz cut for me? That's unreasonable. Hey, I just don't like you. Would you step away from me? I mean, that could be argued to be unreasonable if the man hasn't done anything. If he's just standing there and someone's like, hey, I don't like you, the person. Could you move away from me, please? Like, I have every right to be right here. I haven't done anything to you. I haven't even said anything to you, There's a difference between reasonable and unreasonable requests. And I feel like what is happening is narcissists are trying to create a world where you are not allowed to make any requests of them, especially none that relate to your boundaries, preferences, wishes, wants, and needs, and rights. They don't want you making any requests of them. Don't you ask me to do anything. I'm going to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, however I want to do it, and you're going to deal with it. That's how they're behaving. Is it not? Is it not? Like, it's so out of control, y'all. Like, it's so out of control. It's insane. Like, for example, there's a trend going on right now. I don't know the actual name of it, but basically, a bunch of street racers will block off like an intersection and they'll drift, meaning they will take the cars and like spin them. It's hard to explain, but they'll like spin them in a circle in the intersection, and like a lot of people gather for it, and they take pictures of it, they take videos of it. It's kind of dangerous but also kind of exciting. And the problem is they do this in public roadways, so they're blocking traffic. They're literally blocking traffic, and the police do get called, but by the time the police get there, they usually clear out. And the thing is, like, when you watch the videos, it's very interesting to watch. It is kind of cool to watch, but you cannot do that in public streets where people are trying to go to work, go home. Ambulances might be trying to get here, there, or wherever. You can't do that, but you can't tell them that though, because now you want to fight. Hey man, you're blocking a public street. Can you go drift somewhere else so I can get to work? Man, F you. Now you want to fight. You see what I'm saying? Oh, it's called a takeover, a blick takeover. See, I actually kind of think it's cool, but I think they need to do it like in parking lots. like those, those big abandoned parking lots from like old Kmart's and old like strip malls that have been abandoned for years. Go drift in the parking lot. That would be pretty cool. I would watch that from a distance. I wouldn't want to be at street level. I'm too short for all that, to be in crowds like that. But I would watch it like from a rooftop, because it is kind of neat. Because like, how can you do that? Yeah, doing donuts and stuff. Like, how are you actually able to make the car do that? It's kind of neat. It's kind of intriguing. It's like controlled danger. But can you not do that in the middle of a public roadway where people are trying to get to where they're trying to go? Like, it's insane, y'all. And it's getting worse. And, it would be nice to try to just blame Gen Z. But the truth of the matter is, Gen Z was raised by another generation. And that generation was raised by a generation. And that generation was raised by a generation. So the question becomes, where does the buck stop? When did this start? And where does the buck actually stop? And I think part of it, there's lots of blame to go around, but part of the blame is shared collectively when we as people decide that we're going to roll over. We're not going to stand up for ourselves. We're not going to say anything. We're going to allow ourselves to be treated any old kind of way and hope for the best. Hope for the best. I think this is why one of my most popular videos on the channel is Fun with Your Narcissist, how to beat them at their own game and enjoy it. That is the most popular video on my channel. It has been pretty much for the past couple of years. No other video has ever come close. And I think it's because it's a video that teaches people in a fun and funny way how to stand up to these people and actually have a lot of fun doing it at the same time. Just to watch them squirm. Because how dare you try to make me squirm? Why would you do that? What did I do to you to make you want to make me squirm? Well, now let me make you squirm, weirdo. Freak. Now let me make you squirm and watch you blow a gasket. And yeah, it's funny. I find it funny. And there's even people under that video. It'd be hard to find because there's so many comments under that video. But there's even people like, this is wrong. And you shouldn't be playing games. They're not well, PTE. They're not well. And you're basically advocating for screwing with someone who's not mentally healthy. And my response until I stopped responding was always, well, why are they allowed to screw with me? Because they know what they're doing. They're not unconscious. They're not, I can't use the term I want to use because it's highly politically incorrect. I'll say they're not mentally deficient in such a way that they don't understand what they're doing. They're fully aware, they're fully conscious of what they're doing, and now they're being served back what they serve to other people, and you're mad? You're mad about that. You're mad. Some of y'all say you love that video. JLW, you said it, not me, okay? You're mad that I'm giving them what they give to others, the hate you give. This is the hate you give. And I'm giving it right back to you, and you're mad? You see what I'm saying? That might be a fun activity to do. Comb the comments of that video. Again, there's a lot of them, so but you'll see it in there. People going off on me, telling me about myself, telling me how wrong I am for doing this. And usually what they say is, it's just best to walk away. There's no need to play games, no need to play mind games, just walk away. And again, when I used to respond, I would say things like, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's not that easy. Every relationship can't just be walked away from. Family members, children, siblings, employers, co-workers, neighbors. Oof. Especially if you're a homeowner. It's one thing if you're renting a house, because either when the lease expires or you could just break the lease and move, even though that's a difficult thing to do, it costs a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. At least you can leave. But imagine being a homeowner. You own the house. There's no just walking away when you literally own the property. You could sell it. How long is that going to take in this market? You see what I mean? So walking away is not always the easiest option. So when the easiest option is not available, well, now you have to fight fire with fire. That's all I was basically saying. Yeah, you're being mean, you big meanie. It's like, but you're being mean. Well, I'm not mentally well. And it's like, if you're well enough to know that you're not mentally well, you're fine. Ain't nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. If you know you're unwell, then there's nothing wrong. Well, let me take that back. It is possible to know that you're not well. And what I'm trying to say is, if you are conscious enough to be aware that something is wrong with you, well, then you're probably conscious enough to do something to change your behavior. It's not like you're sleepwalking, or are you? The world may never know. But with that, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it's been so long since we've spoken last. I don't know when I'll be back on, but I am still working on that video I told you guys about a little earlier. And I do plan on rewatching this one, reading through all of your comments. I'm just going to take a little break before I start the after show. I'm going to push it to 10:30 to give myself time to run and get something to eat and also feed my puppy. So for those of you who are channel members, level 1 and 2, I will be back on here at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time in the members only section for the after show. Please join me. It would be great to have you there. And we'll talk some more, and maybe we'll drift into other topics like current events that have been going on. I really do miss the news break. I might bring it back one day. We'll see. But I have enjoyed speaking with you all this evening. I hope I got my point across. Please stand up for yourself when you can and when it's safe to do so. And don't ever be afraid to fight for your rights and fight for your boundaries and establish your boundaries. Don't let these people bully you into silence, because that's exactly what they want. And that is the world they're trying to create. And if we're not careful, that is the world that they will create. And then we'll all be screwed. Okay? So until then, take care, and we will talk to each other again very, very soon. Okay? Bye.